Schuch Up, the podcast. Wow. It's like, I think I'm dreaming. Dream come true here. My favorite musician of all time sitting right beside me. I got to tell you, I like 10, a few top 10 songs on Christian rock radio around the nation. One, a little more than a year ago, went number one on Christian rock radio. Number one. Dude, and I get to sit here and talk with this guy.
I'm just as surprised as you are.
And I verified it today. I think I got a picture I told Joshua to put up of 70,000 followers on social media. It's up to 72,000 now.
Yeah.
What else can I say? The one and only, the legend, as the song says, built from broken pieces, Matt Moore.
Hey, what's up, man?
Welcome, Matt.
Thanks so much for having me, dude.
Oh, man.
It's good to be here.
I'm glad to have you here. This is so cool. I don't even know where to start. What's new? What's going on this summer? Got lots of concerts going?
Nothing. No, lots of stuff, man. It's been a busy season. We got summer shaping up, lots of festivals, lots of opportunities to hit the road. Back down in Nashville this spring to do some more tracking, working on a few more songs that will hopefully be out around summertime, stuff like that. So, keeping it moving, man.
Yeah. I tell you, I like to talk about work ethic and, getting the work done. And when I thought of having you on here, I thought, there's no way that guy's not working his tail off, man. He's always going. In fact, I had a hard time getting you here. You're so busy.
A busy guy, man.
But, and I love the way God works, Matt. Of course, I've had a month to think of different things I wanted to talk with you about and ask you and just share with the people. And then you made a post just this past week on your Facebook page that, it was like you read my mind or you knew what I was thinking. And I love it when God does that.
Yeah,
it's just so cool.
He knows what he's doing.
He does. It's just so cool. So, but we'll talk about that in a bit. But first, I want to know, who's Matt Moore? Who's Matt Moore?
Matt Moore. He's a middle-aged white guy from Central Michigan who makes rock music and leads worship at church. So
rock music, baby.
Rock music, dad, husband, learning and growing as best I can.
Sweet. When did you pick up your first guitar?
I actually picked up the guitar. I was a little late to it. I picked up the guitar around 17. I was senior year of high school. Started playing guitar and, thought maybe I was going to be a pro athlete, and then realized very quickly that was I was pretty uncoordinated and not all that athletic. So, picked up a guitar at 17. Started playing music. I put together a couple rock bands in the Central Michigan area, and just fell in love with it, man. Just the music got a hold of me, and couldn't imagine doing anything else.
I'm that way listening to music.
Yeah.
It
speaks to you, man.
It does.
It's powerful.
That's funny. That's a keynote to something I wrote here. I didn't know when we were going to talk about it, but repetition. If you really want to change, you want to grow, it requires repetition.
Sure.
And I think of Jason, our friend Jason. I loved that first time I came to Thrive. It was like the first week or second week, and he made a joke about country music or something, And I fell in love with him. I'm like, yeah, because I've done that for 20 years. In fact, I can't believe I didn't gag just now when I said that word, because usually when I try to say,
it's not a popular opinion around Central Michigan. We're in the minority for sure.
So anyway, and then he liked Hootie and the Blowfish. He talked about them all the time. But then I forget the guy's name.
Darius Rucker.
Rucker. He went country.
It's like one of the biggest country music stars out there right now.
Right. And so then it ain't long after that after Jason moves down to Florida, he comes on with a big confession on Facebook and he repenting for for cutting down country music all those years. and says he's a country music
He's a
fan.
fan now.
So and I'm thinking of what repetition.
But I'm
was
thinking
do
if
for-
he prays hard enough, he can change. Is what-
But here's
No,
the thing. Here's the thing. What you sparked my thoughts here with repetition. So like, I've had friends in the past say, "Well, I don't really listen to the words or whatever." But then I watch people who listen to country music, and before you know it, they got the big belt buckle, they get the boots, the hat, they walk around bow-legged, the
lifestyle,
in
man.
the belt, right? And it's because they listen to country music over and over. So I'm waiting to see Speak with People one day where Jason comes on with the cowboy hat on.
Yeehaw, y'all.
Yeah. I hope you're listening,
Dude,
Jason. I love you, man.
Country with people, not at people.
At people. Yeah. So anyway, that's funny. So you had a couple rock bands.
Yeah. Tried putting together some rock bands with local musicians, of varying levels of success. Just really kind of learned how to play music, together with some bands, and could never really keep anything going all that long. We'd had some groups that played for a while, and then they'd break up a year or two later, and never wanted to do a solo thing, like ever. Like told God flat out, like I don't want to do a solo thing. I didn't even want to be a singer, honestly. Like I just wanted to play guitar in a band. Every band I was in, almost every band I was in, we tried auditioning for singers and tried to find somebody who could actually do it right, and never found anybody. And it wasn't until my last band broke up in the late 2000s one of the few and only times I've ever heard God's voice. Like I knew for a fact that this was God speaking to me. And it was just this message of you keep saying you want to serve me with music. Like, why are you waiting for somebody to come do it for you? And I was just like a kick to the gut. It was just, it was like, okay. So picked up, grabbed an acoustic guitar, started writing some songs, and took a step out on my own. And something I swore I would never do. And I can't imagine life without it. God just threw open the doors and provided all kinds of opportunities to go out and play and build relationships. And now it's it's my passion. Like I can't imagine not having taken that step. But
That's awesome. It is so true about you. I mean, you can't tell me. Nobody will ever tell me that you don't love what you're doing. 'Cause it's just so obvious. It's just
it's the best job in the world. Like I get to go up there and sing and play guitar and jump around, and honestly, I don't know that I ever feel more myself than when I get to go do what I feel like I was created to do. You just get to go up there and pour it all out and lay it on the line, and you feel like that's where I want to be.
Right.
So.
And you've always impressed me with. I'm like, dude, you're the best, and but you've always kept that humble spirit too. Because my biggest fear, your song goes #1 across the nation, right? Your album, you're making it, and I'm like, well, there goes our worship pastor. We're gonna lose Matt because he's gonna be down in Nashville or somewhere and making records and touring. And
no, man, I gotta tell you, honestly, there's a certain level of imposter syndrome that creeps in where you're looking at your name on this list with all these legendary artists and bands, and you're like, I do not belong here. It feels unrealistic in some ways. So it's I recognize and realize man, I'm still growing, I'm still learning. I still even now heading back into the studio feel I've got more that I want to accomplish and better stuff in me that I want to capture and share with the world. And I think it's just always going to be a process. It's just, you keep learning and keep growing and keep trying to be better than you were yesterday,
Amen. I have a ethos. You know what an ethos is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote an ethos. David Goggins encourages his followers. One of the things you need to do is write an ethos.
Okay.
So I wrote an ethos. And it's, I ain't going to be able to quote it, but it basically says, I want to be a better man of God, husband, father, grandfather, today than I was yesterday.
Absolutely.
And tomorrow, better than I am today.
Yep.
And I'm going to work hard at that, and I'm not going to quit when I'm tired. I'm going to quit when I'm done.
Yep.
And, yeah.
Yeah, you get back up when you get knocked down. And that's the whole thing. Just every day we're taking steps. Every day we're trying to grow and learn and do a little better than we did before,
That's awesome.
It's the process. So.
Yeah. And I picture the ladder that I always talk about, and you know, when you work construction, you get these ladders that are 2-part. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm talking about. And so you need to get this high, and you set the ladder up there. But then when you get there, then you can click, 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 click. You know, and there's really never no top.
Yep.
You know, when it comes to what you're talking
Gotta keep
about.
going, yeah.
And at 61, man, I got a lot of climbing to do yet.
Right.
I'm not even ready to think about sitting down and relaxing. You know.
Yeah. Well, but I think that's the idea of growth in general. Like that's whether it's personal growth or, you know, if we're talking about growing in our spirituality or growing in what we were created to do or in our calling, like there is no point that you arrive. Like there's no, it's like, well, I'm there, I'm done. I've achieved all that can be achieved. Like it doesn't matter. Like, you know, we always talk about it in church and stuff, like whether you've been following God for years and years and years, or if you just started following, like everybody has next steps. Everybody has that next thing that we're trying to do, like trying to grow, trying to get a little better each day. You know, none of us ever arrive and reach perfection. You know, it's a constant process.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I've seen it in the past with a lot of professional athletes. So anyway, with professional athletes and stuff, you know, you see, oh, I want to make the Super Bowl. Well, they make the Super Bowl, they retire, and then you never hear from them anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
and so many of them, I think, and I've heard testimony of some of them that have made it to that level, and it's like,
Now what?
now
Yeah.
what? This can't be it, you know? This can't be it. And so yeah, if it were me and I was feeling that way, like I'm there, I would like to think, you know what? And my whole life, I've had times like that. Okay, I worked in children's ministry, Matt, at the Potter's House, and we went out with vans. And when I came on board, we were doing 100 kids a week, and within a couple of years, we were doing 250 kids a week.
Oh, wow.
And it was just phenomenal. And then, you know, something happened at church. Oh,
That's
that's
impressive.
thunder.
That's serious thunder.
That's a coming storm.
That's the rock and roll right there.
That's Coming Storm, baby. That's a Matt Moore song, by the
Yes,
way.
yeah.
Coming Storm. Yeah, it's a good one. They're all good ones. But anyway, you know, then something happened at that church in the leadership, and that ministry ended up really getting crushed. And, you know, what I thought was my calling for the rest of my life kind of got crushed. And I know now that if I would have stuck to the grind, even though it didn't look like it at the time, it would have came back again, and
Sure.
you know, whatever. But instead, I quit, you know, and went on to do something else, and
Sure.
and that's kind of been my story. You know, I had great times in my life, then whether it be drug use or whatever, great times, and then back to the start again, And so I've always had to climb,
Yeah.
you know. And now I'd like to think that I'm going to keep climbing. I'm never going to get to that point. And if I do get to that point then I got a feeling I'm going to crash back down again. I may go back down on purpose even, you know, just to go back through the grind or whatever,
Sure.
you know. I don't know.
Well, and I think it's one of those things when you have goals and things you want to accomplish, like, I don't know, there have been certain goals in my life that I've wanted to accomplish or certain things that I wanted to achieve. And like, in my experience, once you get there, if you do achieve those, like, first of all, the journey and the process of even working towards that is, you know, most of the experience. But when you get there, it's like, okay, now I want to keep going. Like, you know, like I've achieved this, like I'm not done. Like I want to keep going. I want to keep, you know, I want to do something better yet. Like I want to, you know, whatever it is. Even, you know, you talk about professional athletes. Like I want a Super Bowl. Like I want to win 2 Super Bowls. I want to win 10 Super Bowls. You know, it's like,
Right.
you know, once you hit that line, like I'm not done. You know, and I think your story is encouraging because it's that idea of like even though you feel like you've had to start over a bunch, like you do keep starting over. You get back up. You know,
Right.
even when life knocks you down, when things get difficult and things don't go the way that you think they should, like we don't just throw in the towel and be like, I'm done. It's like you
Right.
get back up, you keep moving, and I think sometimes those transitions are really incredible times to like refocus and really do some soul searching and you know, find out like, all right, God, what do you have for me? Like, what are you calling me to? Like, because I want to be where you want me at, you know?
Right. Yeah, and like you talked about in your post, talk about it, you know.
Yeah.
Don't just sit there. Don't just
Yeah.
like give up or
Yeah.
you know, just sit there. Just talk about it. Do something. Take that next
Yeah.
one step.
Yeah.
You know, one step and then the next step. And
Absolutely.
yeah. So anyway, you know, on that note, I have I'm going to talk about him a little bit. I'm not sure he won't mind. I was going to talk about my other son a little bit, and he told me that I could and he wouldn't mind. So
Okay.
I know, you know, my son is making some changes in his life.
Yeah.
And you know, ever since the pandemic and just before, he's maybe got around the wrong friends and stuff. And man, it's just lately it's been blowing me away, the things he's doing. He's in here working out like crazy. He's running.
Okay.
And in fact tonight he came outside and he's like, call me when Matt gets here or something, because I got to run. And he was facing temptation in a battle, and he said no, and he took off running instead. And
Good for him, man.
Yeah.
That's huge.
It is.
Well, taking responsibility for that stuff and taking steps, like it's hard, it's grueling, but man, it's so necessary. Like, you know, you gotta take that step.
You gotta.
Yeah.
You gotta. And that's what I told him when he got back. I'm like, oh, trust me. You know, you're trying to make these changes. There's going to be times.
Absolutely.
When you're going to have to work really hard to lift that foot and take that next step.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Those are the changes that are worth making, man. Like
They are.
Those are the ones that are worth fighting for.
They are.
Yep.
They are. Yep.
For sure.
Yep. That's awesome. So let's see. What can we talk about? You know, we talked about your song hitting #1 and you being humble about it and stuff. So I'm trying to be humble, but today asked Joshua about being humble or not for me, because I called him right away. I deliver parts, long drives, Houghton Lake, you
Okay.
know. So basically for 2 years I've been doing that now, and that's what gave birth to this and making changes in my life, because I get to, you know, whereas I used to always have on the radio and just listen to the same music over and over and over again. Now I'm listening to podcasts, audio books.
Yeah.
And so anyway, you know, I'm a self-critic. So my first episode came out last week. So I've listened to it 3 or 4 times while I'm driving.
Okay.
You know, criticizing myself. But anyway, so I'm listening to it today again. And on Podbeam, it's a platform I use.
Okay.
So I'm listening to it on there, and I've listened to it on there every time. And today I stopped on my lunch, and I thought I'm going to bring up a different platform and listen to it on a different platform.
Okay.
See what's different about it, if any. You know. So I Google searched All Schuch Up the podcast.
Okay.
And is it Listen FM? No. I don't know. Anyway, it says it brings up a list right on the screen right away. Did I have a picture of that up there, Dustin? I don't think I do. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Brings up a screen, and it says 50 top jump up podcasts.
There you go.
And my name's on there.
Come on.
I'm telling you, my first week.
First
so I'm
episode.
like, dude, I called Joshua right away. I'm like, I'm sending you a screenshot. You gotta see this.
Heck yeah.
And I mean, you know, and James Moreno, friend of mine, I love you, James. Him and his buddy been doing a podcast where they critique horror movies.
Okay.
That's what they do. They set, you know, every episode and pick a certain movie, and they talk all about it.
Okay.
The good, the bad. And, you know, he's got X number of followers. And so he when I put on Facebook that I was going to be doing this, he encouraged me, you know, go for it, man. That's awesome. And so, like, a few days after my first episode gets out there, he messaged me like, dude, you already passed me in followers. I'm like, yes.
That's awesome.
But, you know, bottom line, I'm always going to keep this about encouraging someone.
For sure.
Encouraging someone. And it's not about how many followers I got. I'm gonna tell my life story and the mistakes I've made and the victories I've had. And I'm gonna have people like you come on. We're gonna talk like this. And if one person betters their life because of it, then
yeah.
I'm happy.
But what a cool opportunity and what a cool platform to be able to share those stories and to tell your story. Like, that's awesome. And the fact that people are tuning in and listening to it and you get the opportunity to share that with them, like, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And it's so rewarding getting it out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it really is. It's like, you know, in my first episode, I shared a couple of really stupid mistakes I made and stuff in the past, and it just feels really good to talk about.
Yeah.
That and get it out there.
Dude, it's huge. That's how we grow and heal.
It is.
For sure.
It is. And yeah, and on your post, that's what you talked about, you know, and that, again, listening to that, man, I listened to it about 4 times over.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I think Matt and I are the same page right now on that, you know.
Well, you know, and that post, like, you know, just kind of all about mental health. I mean, that really came out of, you know, just, I mean, me working through my own mental health stuff, but also, like, both as an artist and working through the church, like, just the number of conversations recently with people who are struggling, who are, you know, facing depression or anxiety or thoughts of self-harm and things like that. And to see people beginning to open up and to tell those stories and to find somebody that they trust to just say, man, I'm struggling, like, walk with me, pray with me, like, you know, for a long time, we've kept silent about that stuff. And we've, you know, we've hid it behind, you know, we all have, like, we all have, I've done it too. I mean, facing those thoughts of, like, you know, what if people really knew, like, what I was thinking, or what if people really knew what I struggled with, or what if people really knew what I thought about me, you know, stuff like that. Like, would people like me, and would people accept me, or would they all distance and back off because that's weird? And then you find out, like, everybody's got their stuff. Everybody's working through their own thing. You know, yours might not look exactly the same as mine, but you've got your thing, I've got my thing. And so, yeah, I just made that post to really encourage people, like, man, find somebody. Like, first of all, know you're not alone. Like, you know, like, you got people like us right now who are standing here going, like, no, we're working through our stuff too.
Oh, heck yeah.
And like I said, I've got a whole phone, you know, text box and inbox full of people who are struggling. Like, it's so much more, you know, regular, so much more, you know, common than you think, but open up to somebody, find somebody, whether it's a friend, whether it's a family member, whether it's a counselor, whether it's a pastor, whether it's, you know, find somebody that you can trust, that you can open up to and just say, man, I'm struggling. And it's crazy what happens when we open up about that stuff, and when we begin to break the silence on that and begin to talk about it and begin to just be honest with it. You know, we start bringing that stuff out to the light. Like, I think God does really incredible things. Like, it loses its power. Like, then when you're hiding it away, we bring it out to the light, and we can actually experience healing. And you find other people who go, yeah, I'm dealing with that too, and I'm struggling with that too. And now you've got, you know, strength in numbers. And yeah, just excited. You know, it's heartbreaking to know so many people are struggling, but it's really exciting to see people opening up and talking about it and normalizing the conversation a little bit, and just understanding that, like, we're all working through our stuff,
right?
And we don't have to go through it alone.
That's the big one.
Yeah,
that's the big one, because I remember I went to a counselor once as a high schooler.
Okay,
I was 9th or 10th grade, and I remember, you know, I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go, but my parents made me go. And then, you know, one of the questions the counselor asked me was, you know, why do you think you're here? You know. And I'm like, well, you know, nobody likes me. You know, nobody likes me. And I remember him, wow, it's weird I can remember it so well, but I remember him saying, you know, no, I don't think that's the case. I think they like you, but they think you don't like them. And he twisted it. And, you know, I just remember that. But again, that was back, boy, that was in the 70s, you know, and that was back in a time where it wasn't
we don't
very
talk about this stuff,
tough.
Man.
It wasn't very tough. If you were a man and, you know, you admit you have problems, no. You know.
And to a point, I mean, there's still, I mean, it's I think we've begun to normalize some of that conversation now, but amongst dudes especially, like, you know, not to draw lines, but, like, for whatever reason, like, yeah, we, you know, man up, you know, we don't talk about it, we don't cry, we don't, you know, it's like, no, like, we're going through our stuff. Right. You know, I actually just started seeing a counselor over the past couple of years, and you know, I held off for so long, and because it was partially I had that lie in my head that I thought maybe it was a weakness, but also, like, I remember feeling like, no, I'm gonna take care of everybody else first. We're gonna take care of my family. We're gonna take care of friends. Like, we'll get to me later. Like, yeah,
I'll be fine.
I got my stuff, but we'll deal with me later. We'll take care of them first. And I thought I was loving people well by putting them first and doing that kind of stuff, until I began to realize, like, just how much my stuff was bleeding out on the people that were closest to me. You know, like my family, my friends, my staff at church. To realize just how much my stuff was affecting the people around me. And then starting to slowly, and it's almost embarrassing how long it took to realize, but starting to realize, like, man, I have to learn how to take care of me in order to take care of them. Like, they deserve my best. They deserve me at my best. And I'm not giving it to them right now. You know, so I've got to take some steps to start taking care of my health so that I can help them take care of theirs. And it's, you know, and it's growing. It's been helpful for me, but dude, it's still a process.
Isn't it funny how, like, you hit on this, that, you know, man up, be strong, but really, you know, how much stronger you are when you face those problems and admit those problems. And it takes a lot stronger man to do that than it does to hide that stuff.
And how much stronger you feel once you start getting victory over it. And once you start bringing that stuff out and realize, like, it doesn't have the same authority in my life. It doesn't have the same hold and the same power that it had. You know, and you actually start to experience healing and experience, you know, that kind of stuff. It's like, I like to think I'm a lot stronger after. Not that I'm, you know, I haven't arrived. I'm still working, but like, definitely, you know, it's definitely been, you know.
Well, you haven't arrived to the strongest in the world.
Right.
But you're way stronger than
I was yesterday.
Exactly.
Yep. And that's it. And it's a process.
Stronger than before. Man,
that's where it comes from, man.
You know,
like,
when I wrote down repetition, I'm telling you, I'm sitting here doing what we're doing right now because I'm stronger.
Yeah.
It's always something I've been told my whole life. You know, you're so good with people, and you know. And I don't think I am. I don't think I am. Or I put on a good face, and I'm a good faker. You know, I'm a good hide. But yeah, I'm way stronger. And you know, it's repetition. It's listening to those same books over and over again. And Matt, you know, I'm gonna love you forever because of Stronger. I'm telling you. I listen to that song over and over and over again. And the message is just exactly. What I love about it too is you're not, you know, sometimes self-help things and stuff, they try to tell you how to fix things, or, you know, tell you. You're telling your story in that song, or, you know, or a story at least.
Yeah.
I listen to that, and it's not like, you know, somebody preaching to me or trying to teach me. It's somebody being real and dealing with the same things I've dealt with. And the same things I want to strive towards in their story. And man, I listen to it over and over and over again, and I walk around like, man, I'm a freaking legend built from broken pieces. Yeah.
Well, dude, honestly, that was really the whole story behind that Scars album. You know, it was walking through this process of coming to terms with our brokenness. You know, admitting that we're broken, that we need help. It's allowing God to piece us back together and to show himself strong in our weakness, and then to celebrate the fact that, like, not only are we so much stronger for allowing that brokenness to get healed and to allow God to do his work, but that promise of, you know, we don't ever have to do it alone. You know, we're never walking this thing out alone. Like, God's got us. God's putting people in our life that have us, like, you know, it's just this whole process of healing and redemption and hope. And yeah, hopefully, I mean, it's so encouraging to hear you say that, because it's like, that's really what I wanted to share with people, you know?
Right. What a cool feeling that must be. You know, I'm doing this, not necessarily for that feeling, but for that person.
Sure.
So when that person comes smiling from ear to ear saying, you know, and I got no wisdom for them other than I got a story to tell. And if you know, I'll tell you, like Matt said on his post, you know, if you got no one to talk to, hit me up. Reach out to me, and I'll share with you some of the things that's helped me. Yeah. And you know, we can go from there. Yeah. But
I think sometimes people just need to know that there's a safe place. You know, there's somebody who will listen and not judge them, and pray with them and pray for them, and point them to some help if that's what they're looking for.
Yeah, and if you're a guy and you think it's weak, or you know, if you're worried that, you know, you come to me about it, buddy, man. It's you and me. You know, it's going nowhere besides there. And
I think people think you're being tough with it, but man, there's nothing weaker than trying to hide it. There's nothing weaker than burying it and not dealing with it. Like, that's, you know.
Yeah, and. You know, like I said, I don't really have much to offer, but Chris Wilkinson, he's a podcaster. Okay. You heard of him?
Heard the name, yeah.
Yeah. And so everybody thinks, you know, he's just this super brain, this super wise guy, you know. And I I forget who was on his podcast, but they asked him about that, like, I think it was Cameron Haynes. He's like, well, I'm just a bow hunter, over here, but you're a wise man, so I listened to your advice. And he's like, man, he says, he's from England.
Okay.
He said, I was a bouncer for a few years. That's what he did. And he says, what I've perfected, if I'm wise, is that I listen to audiobooks and read like crazy and learn, but I ain't really learning it. He said, I'm just taking something somebody else did and repurposing it, is the way he said it. And I'm like, oh, I love that. I can do that.
Well, in a way, that's kind of what we're all doing. And really the wisdom we're sharing is more just like, share your story. Just, share what God's doing in your life. Share what you've been through. And, you talk about like getting messages from people, like being like, man, this song helped me through a hard time, or like the song means a lot to me. It's like, dude, that's what you live for. I mean, I think every artist, every podcaster probably hopes that like what you're doing is connecting with people and that you're making any kind of difference or any kind of change. So it's pretty special when you get to share a part of your story and people connect with that and it means something to them, and then it becomes our story, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, I bet you get that quite a bit, especially with this recent album. Every one of them means the world, man. Like to get messages come in or have people like share stories about, what it means or how it's helped them through a hard time. It's like those are worth taking a screenshot of and saving away in a file for the days that feel more like a struggle. You need like a huge computer.
But those days that that feel like you're not winning, or that you're you have. I have those same insecurities and same like I don't know if I'm doing anything good. Or
do you go back and read some of them and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, definitely. Sometimes I'll go back and just remember, like, no, what you're doing matters, man. What you're doing what you're called to do. Keep going, keep walking. Like
that's awesome.
It's it's a good encouragement.
So shoot, David Geis is gonna end up watching my podcast just because I talk about him all the time. But,
just hashtag him.
No, but he kind of does the same with haters.
Okay.
And I know you don't have any of those, but
I don't screenshot those ones.
but here's an idea. You're a musician, a songwriter. Mm-hmm. Take those encouraging and put them together, make a song out of it.
Yeah.
He did what he done it with his haters.
Okay.
And he put a beat to it, and when he runs and stuff, he puts earbuds in. He listens to all the garbage people talk about him.
Okay.
And it fuels him.
That motivates him.
It motivates him. It fuels him.
I don't think it motivates me the same way.
Yeah.
Like, those are usually the ones where like we're not going to read the comments. We're just going to move on from those.
That's and a couple of people have warned me too. Once I start doing this, I'm going to have some haters. And
there's trolls.
And I'm just gonna scroll on by because I'm not that at that point in my life yet. If I start reading them, I'll make mistakes.
Well, and the worst thing you can really do with those is engage with them and give them any authority or any voice. It's like,
Exactly. And, during the last election, I started getting that on Facebook. And I just unfriended.
Dude, honestly, I have to stay off of Facebook. Like, it's my mental health struggles when I'm on Facebook. Just to be honest, between that stuff and I already struggle with, comparing myself to others and stuff like that. So it's just like, I post things on Facebook and then I move on. Like, so I don't stick around very often and read stuff. So
I recently went through a struggle, and I'm still struggling with a little bit, but I kind of got a handle on it now. But it used to be I'd turn on Facebook and I wouldn't look at the first post on Facebook. Okay. I'd look up to the right corner for the likes and comments.
Yep. Yep.
And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't think that was good, and so I've gotten way better at it.
Yeah.
I know when Faith was racing, I used it a lot for sharing her racing as a platform, and it was awesome for that. And I'm going to use it a lot for this.
Sure.
But
there's incredible potential and incredible, it's an incredible tool to be able to share stuff. I mean, sharing music or thinking when the pandemic hit, being able to do church online exclusively, we couldn't have done that 10, 20 years ago. The same way to be able to just jump online and share it with, everybody instantly. So there's some incredibly powerful and helpful things with it, but like anything like that, I mean, I think it can be abused and can become an addiction and something that, it's just tough. So for me and my mental health, I stay away from it as much as I can. I'm usually pretty slow to respond to Facebook messages just because I take it off my phone. It's not in there and stuff. And so people will come up all the time and be like, hey, did you see, I posted on Facebook that I'm doing this thing? I'm like, nope, sure didn't. Sorry.
Yeah. And that's good. That's
Still learning
awesome.
how to do it better, but yeah.
But yeah, that's good, man. I need to do it better. So maybe when we're not on camera, sometime you and I can talk. You can help me out.
There you go. show you how to delete.
I am
stuff.
getting better, and it's funny because just since I've started doing this, I've been trying to do Instagram a little bit.
Okay.
It's like so confusing to me, and I'm like, maybe I'm going to leave that to Joshua. And,
There you go.
leave that to the young crowd.
I do some with Instagram. I still share on there. Like that was just kind of fun. You post something and kind of move on and just go. But my wife is like she's the Instagrammer. Like she runs the show. Yeah, she's massive following. Just like so I take advice from her. Like, how do I do this?
Right. Yeah, I usually ask him.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that, man.
Oh, let's see. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, so you were 17 when you got your first guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So today I don't know why I couldn't get this song out of my head. Jukebox Hero.
Oh yeah.
He bought a
Foreigner.
beat up 6-string
Yeah.
at a secondhand store.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm thinking,
Be a jukebox hero.
yeah. So I was just wondering if it was like that for you, or you look to the band members and stuff like, oh, I want to.
Well, there's
that.
definitely some of them. I mean, like my dad is an incredible musician. Like he was
Oh,
the worship
man.
pastor in our church for years. Like he played in bands and like I always looked up to him and the way he played and stuff like that. But I just wanted to play sports, so like I didn't do that.
Right.
So it wasn't until I grabbed, we always had guitars in the house, always had music in the house. So it wasn't until I grabbed a guitar and then it just kind of became an obsession. Like it was just like I just played all the time in my bedroom, and then tried to find other people to play with. So yeah, my dad was probably like the original inspiration for wanting to get into any of that.
Didn't he? Wasn't he a DJ for a while at?
Yeah. Yep, that was a little later in life.
What radio station?
It was Fuse FM.
Fuse
It
FM.
started off as Praise Radio.
Praise Radio.
Back in the day, and then became Fuse FM.
That's when
Yep.
I got saved.
No kidding.
It was Praise Radio when I first got saved.
Okay.
And there was one in Bay City too called
TRK.
yeah.
WTRK.
Yeah,
Yep.
they're still there. They still broadcast with that tower, but it's
Okay.
not, and they go by WTRK, I think, but it's the national.
Okay.
What is it?
That's not Family Life, is it?
No, it's not Family Knife. It's
I guess I don't know
Drawing
when
a
they play
blank.
a band called at the TRK thing called Salem Rock. I think it was.
yes,
And played
Christian punk rock.
played there.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Went to shows there a bunch.
I've
man.
probably
Yeah.
seen you there and didn't.
Oh
know.
man, back in
yeah.
those days, yeah, that was really where we got our start. It was those Christian rock and punk shows. There was a guy named Brian Hampton who ran a company called Ripped Heart Productions, and Ripped Heart Productions used to put on like all the shows. Like so, it started at Salem Rock and then went over to this place called the Old Jamestown Hall in Saginaw, and we used to play. Like that was where all my bands got their start. That's where most bands, in this area, like got their start. Like Christian rock and punk and metal and hardcore bands. Like we would all go play in this tiny little hall, and they'd pack like 200 people in this. I mean, if the fire marshal's listening, we didn't do that. But
Right.
they'd pack way too many kids in this tiny little hall, and it would just be these crazy punk shows with mosh pits and stuff like that. Was the whole scene? Like,
What was the place in Bay City called? The concert?
I think it was Salem Rock was the
Yeah.
one in Bay City.
So my best friend growing up all my life owned both Domino's pizzas in Bay City at that time. And he had a driver work for him that was pretty much founded the TRK and stuff.
That's probably Brian. Brian was a pizza delivery guy.
Yeah.
This is the same guy I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He used to tell me stories about getting robbed as a pizza
So
delivery guy.
He invited me there. So I went 2 or 3 times to see bands there and
Yeah.
stuff. And then I would drag my non-Christian friends who like punk rock and stuff. I'd
Heck yeah.
drag them there for the shows and stuff. And
That's
because that was like right after I got saved, and
Yeah.
So I still wanted to, I'm a Ramones punk rock.
Heck yeah.
To this day,
Yeah.
If there was only one genre of music to survive, for
Would be
me,
the one.
it would have to be punk rock.
Well, dude, it's that dude. If it's the same guy we're talking about, Brian Hampton was the real deal. Like, still is. Like So many of us artists like owe our start to that guy, because he would take bands that like we had no business playing shows, like we barely knew how to play 3 chords, and he'd be like, we reach out, can we play a show? Sure. So he'd put us on, like, you're playing like
they do like 3 bands a night and stuff too.
Well, and actually, when we would do the hall shows, they would do like 15 bands in a day.
Oh,
like,
man.
We'd be playing at like 2 in the afternoon and stuff like that, and there'd still be people there like hanging out, and that was where we got our start. Like
around here, before I got saved, of course, I was into the bar scene, but at bars and stuff, 1 band all weekend long, So then I joined the Navy, and while I was in the Navy out in Connecticut, cool story. I'm going to tell this story.
Yeah.
Do you mind?
No.
So I'm 18 years old. I turned 19, and the drinking age was 19 in Connecticut back then. So I'm home on leave. I'm still 18. The day of my birthday is the day I'm scheduled to be back to the Navy base in Connecticut. Not back to it there for the first time.
Okay.
But I had to be there by midnight on September 16th.
Right.
17th is my birthday. So my buddies take me to the airport to fly out there. They left at the airport and went and seen the Plasmatics. You ever heard of them?
Okay.
They went and seen the Plasmatics in Detroit. I had a ticket to go. I almost went AWOL and stayed. No. Yeah, they blow up cars on stage and stuff. Jeez. They were just crazy.
That's a real punk rock show.
Oh, yeah.
The real deal.
Well, Wendy Orlean Williams was the lead singer, and she basically, she come out with like tape over her minimum parts of her body covered and blow up cars and cut things up with chainsaws.
I remember seeing videos of it.
Oh,
and stuff
yeah,
like that.
So anyway, my friends all go.
I've never blown up a car on stage.
So
I got to do that now.
I go out. I'll be there.
Maybe this summer.
I'll
We'll
help.
All right.
Yeah.
You have the hookup.
Yeah. So anyway, I go out to Connecticut. So my 19th birthday, I head out on the town, new city, new state, never been there, didn't know a soul. Went out by myself. Walked into a bar, sat down, and I'll never forget it as long as I live. Ordered a drink, and I thought was a lady, sat down next to me and said, hi, honey, and you knew, and I need to tell you something, and it was a gay bar. I didn't know. I walked in, and I'm like, thank you for telling me.
Appreciate
have
that.
a nice night. I'll
Appreciate
see you
the
later.
heads up.
So I walk down the street a little ways and I see one, and the name of it is Baba O'Reilly.
Okay.
Well, you know what that is.
Yeah,
That's
the Who, man.
The Who song, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that then.
Okay.
So I didn't know Baba O'Reilly was. I thought that song was Teenage Wasteland.
Okay.
But the name of it is Baba O'Reilly. So I walk into this bar anyway, and the Ramones are playing on the jukebox.
No.
I'm like, no. Walk over to the jukebox, go up to the bar. It was early evening, still daylight out. And the owner was behind the bar.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's the Ramones. And he's like, oh, yeah, punk rock, blah, blah, blah. What are you doing tonight? You should come back. We got 3 bands. I'm like, 3 bands on the same night? And, I came back. It was my birthday. And, punk rock all night, man.
That's fantastic.
So go outside and take off my shirt. It was soaking wet from jumping up and down dancing, stick it on the walls, wring the water out of it. And,
that's a real punk rock show.
But, anyway, yeah.
That's awesome.
So I find Brian's club over there, and we go, and there's like 3 bands, and I'm like, yeah, baby, this is the deal, That
was a place, man. Like I said, I remember playing a couple of shows over there. Dad's band played over there and stuff like that. Like it was.
Right.
That was
probably
saw.
Probably,
that's where we got our start.
Because it was only a couple of years that it was there.
Yeah.
I mean, and I was there a lot in those couple of years, so. Yep. You never know. Might have seen you there.
Yep.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then that was. I remember getting saved, and one of the things that kept me from giving my life to God fully was my love for music, and all of a sudden from that and praise radio, they're playing rock, but it's Christian. I got no more excuses now, right?
Yep.
I dove in, baby.
That's awesome.
I owe a lot of my salvation to praise radio.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Dude, that's so cool.
I told you that.
Small world,
I told
man.
You that already too.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So anyway, what else do I want to talk about, Matt? I want to ask you. you know, I've carried on quite a bit here about how awesome your music is, how much I love it.
You're very kind.
And a lot of people are probably going to want to check out Matt Moore.
Yeah.
Tell us some ways they can.
I'm all over the place, man. I mean, the easiest one is main website is mattmoremusic.com. Otherwise, I'm on like most social media platforms. Just search for Matt Moore. It's Matt Moore Official on Instagram and Facebook. You can look for Matt Moore on Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, Amazon, wherever you listen to music. Like it's in all the places. So
at one point you struggled with, I remember you telling me a few years ago now, it's been a few probably, with Matt Moore.
Oh man, yeah.
So make sure you guys get that right. It's Matt Moore.
Moore. Yeah, no, I've it's a pretty common name. So like it turns out there's a bunch of other Matt Moores that make music also. I'm the one who's trying to look tough in all the pictures and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
Like how cool. But no, it's Matt Marr was one that got confused a lot. Macklemore was one that got confused a lot. Michael Moore was one that got confused a couple times. Michael Moore was the documentarian who did like Bowling for Columbine and stuff like that. So I was playing at college.
Who was the Moore?
And they advertised Michael Moore was coming to this college.
Who was the Moore?
There were people protesting and picketing.
I thought that was.
It wasn't me.
Michael. Maybe it wasn't Michael Moore. Moore. Oh man! Back in when I first got saved, like in early '90s.
Jeff Moore.
Jeff Moore.
Jeff Moore in the distance.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I've still got a buddy. There's a camp I play at up north, and the pastor up there who actually knows Jeff. You know, every time I come in, he calls me Matt Moore in the distance. So it's
Cool. Yeah. What was the one? His big hit.
Home Run was one of them.
Home Run. Yeah. I'm not gonna think of it anyway.
Jeff Moore.
So something else that I know, man, I'm all the time, I do just the opposite of what I'm going to ask you. I hear a song, for example, I've done it with Ramon songs. You know, I listen to a song, I know every word because I've heard them so many times. But then I change the words to make them a Christian song.
Okay.
You know, but what I want to ask you is like, are you like always thinking when you hear something or see something, are you like, that'd make a good song? Or... I mean,
there's definitely seasons. Yeah, there's seasons where like everything is like you're paying attention to everything. Then there's other times where you try to turn it off. You're not, but especially seasons like I'm in a season right now where we're writing for the next album, and so like I'm constantly going for walks. Like I got my notes on my phone, my voice memos are filling up. But then somebody will say something I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's a good lyric. I'm gonna put that in. Yeah. Or you watch something on TV or read something in a book and you're like, yeah, that's good. That's going to make it into a song somewhere.
So that does happen.
Sure. Oh yeah.
I wondered if musicians
you can find inspiration from anywhere, man. It's really wild.
That's awesome. So I thought of that. We both know Tyler.
Yeah.
Tyler's actually in treatment center right now for alcohol.
Okay.
And went and visited him last Sunday. And it was so cool. First of all, that he must love his dad and be proud of him because everybody there knew me before I got there.
No kidding.
That was pretty cool. And to brag on him a bit, I had several gentlemen that are in the treatment program come up to me and thank me for him and tell me how much he's helped them.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, you know, and I asked him, I'm like, dude, you know, I know you got to have a couple years of sobriety and maybe some classes or something, but did you ever think about working at a place like this and helping people? And he's like, yeah. He says, like, I can't get it out of my mind. That's all I'm thinking about.
Kidding.
So, but anyway, that's really cool. So,
good for him for taking steps, though, man.
I'm telling you,
that's awesome. That's a tough step to take, and
we've been us who love him dearly, you know, been trying to get him to take that step, and it kind of came about without a push from anybody. Yeah. He wants it. So.
Well, honestly, and that's, dude, until you want it for yourself, it doesn't matter how much other pushing is. Yeah,
1989, you know, that's how it was for me.
I think it's like that for almost anybody. Like if you really want to make a life change and stuff like that, like people can want it for you, but it's not until you want it. Like, right, you know, exactly. Nobody can want it enough for you.
So he introduced me to this gentleman there, and he's a musician.
Okay.
He told me the name of a couple of different bands, and he lives in Edmore. And his YouTube channel is TC Human.
Okay.
Tim is his name.
Okay.
And anyway, when you just, we're talking about writing music.
Yeah.
So we're sitting talking, and I'm telling him about my podcast, and he's asking me questions. And, I was trying to be really encouraging to him. And, like, it was fun because about every 3 or 4 minutes, he's, like, grabbing his notebook. Say that again. And he's writing it down, things that I'm sharing with him,
That's cool.
Oh, it was so cool. It was so cool.
You're going to end up in some song lyrics here, man.
So I said something about, I was talked about you and how awesome the music was at Thrive, our church. And he's like, yeah, our church is pretty good. And they're letting me do a little more. I'm like, oh, you go to church. And so anyway, when I looked him up on YouTube, then I seen he's playing a song he wrote, and the dance team is doing a dance where they're crucifying Jesus.
Okay.
And it was, anyway.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty darn cool.
That's powerful.
So, anyway, so... Yeah. Bring that up, bud. Did you already? Or
there's Tyler.
That's Matt and Tyler right there. Yeah. Oh, I love
That's
both
old
those
school,
guys.
man. That had to be around.
There's another one. That's
2015, something like that. 2014.
Where is that at? That's not.
That's at Celebration Cinema.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's at the old theater, man, where we used to meet. Tyler, gifted musician, man. Like just really talented kid. Like yeah. Always loved making music with him. Yeah. Just such a sweet soul.
I always use that to try to encourage him to, and it's funny because the first chance he had to call, he was like, if you come Sunday, will you bring me my guitar?
Okay.
And then a couple days later, he's like, never mind. There's somebody here who's a musician who's got a guitar. And
cool.
We're doing stuff together. So when I got there Sunday to visit, everybody referred to him as their music man.
That's what's up.
Yeah, so he must be playing
cool.
a little bit and stuff.
Tyler's one of those kids, again, everything he touched, like he was talented at it. Like, it's kind of not fair, really.
It isn't. No, because I took 6 years of accordion lessons and struggled reading music, and couldn't do nothing, and he couldn't read a note of music, but he can play it.
That's crazy.
And you're that way, too. You just play. I mean, do you read music or?
Not well. I can very slowly, but no, I play more by ear. I play more by, just jamming on stuff. And I can really only play guitar. Like, I pad a little bit at the piano and can do very, very basic stuff on drums.
I was going to try my accordion later.
It was sound like swinging a bag of cats against the wall. I guarantee it. Like,
so quick. I'll go quick. Great story. My parents have a cabin up north. They have all my life. And we had one cabin, and then it wasn't on the water. So then they sold that cabin and bought one on the water. And the guy and his wife that bought their other cabin, he come down, I don't know if it was to sign paperwork to our cabin, and I was practicing my accordion. I was 8 years old. I'll never forget it.
Okay.
He's like, and this is an older guy, and he's like, you mind if I try that? And so I gave it to him, and he messed around with little, and he goes, are you done practicing for the day? And I was like, yes. I was happy, he says, can I take this up to my place for a couple hours? He was asking my parents. They're like, yeah, go ahead. He come back and he could play. I mean, it was just incredible. And come to find out, he was one of those guys.
Okay.
He played in a bluegrass band.
Okay.
He played a banjo, a guitar. He played everything. He played a saw. Literally, he was really good at play. I'll never forget it. I'm like 8 years old and he's playing way down upon the Swanee River on a saw. A handsaw.
That's so crazy.
It's crazy. And for years, my parents we'd go see him play at places and stuff. The guy was totally gifted. I had been 2 years into the accordion and could barely play, Mary Had a Little Lamb. And this guy's ripping out polkas and stuff on it in a couple hours.
That's wild.
Phenomenal. Yeah, it was fun. And Tyler's good. I remember when we were racing go-karts in Vestaburg. We were at a campground.
Okay.
And Tyler got out his guitar. We were sitting around the fire, and he's playing a song, and some of us would sing if we knew the song. Classic rock, mostly. Okay. And about 2 or 3 songs in, he starts a song, and somebody from like 6 camps down hollers out the name of the song. And then some other camper yells, let's play Name That Tune. So here we are in this full campground, 4th of July weekend. It gets dead silent in there, and everybody's listening to Tyler play his guitar and trying to name the song. I'll never forget as long as I live. We had so
That's
much
awesome.
fun there. More fun. He started da-da-da-da-da-da-da, Crazy Train.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Right? You know? So he starts that song, and some lady from halfway across campground goes, I. It was a blast.
That's
It was a
awesome.
blast. I'm walking around, that's my boy.
Proud dad,
That's
man.
my boy. I was a proud dad, no doubt about it. So, well, Matt, man, I can't thank you enough for coming here. And
Thanks so much
and
for the
doing this with
opportunity,
me.
man.
I don't know about you, but I'm having a good time.
This is a
It's
blast.
fun.
This is a lot of fun.
Like I said earlier, we took a little break. It's like, man, I want to keep going and going and going, but we all have life we have to get
Back to
too,
the real
so.
world, man.
But so a couple things. Grab your guitar.
Yeah.
Play a song for us before you leave,
For sure.
and then I have just a little teeny gift for you.
Okay.
But
Arrange myself in here.
when we took a break, Matt asked me what song we wanted to do, and of course, you guys all know by now, my opening and closing song is Matt Moore's "Stronger." So I asked him if he could play that for us. So
You got
I'm gonna get lost. You sing it. I'm just gonna love it. Okay.
I was also telling you, I don't know if I've ever played this on like acoustic like this before. This is kind of
So this is like a first time for all of us.
all right. So
They try to break you, they try to make you give up, give in, tap out again. They try to burn you, they try to turn you upside down. You're gonna find out you're made for more than this. I know your story is not done yet. So get off the floor, come on, raise your hands and say, I am stronger than before. I'm a legend built from broken pieces, making something more. There's a new tomorrow, and I can't be stopped. No, you know I'm stronger. I let them use me, straight up abuse me. Drugged out, taking the medicine. I won't stay down again. No, no. Every piece that they take, every bone that they break, every smile that they fake was just fuel for the flames. And I won't be the same. I am stronger than before. I'm a legend built from broken pieces, making something more. There's a new tomorrow, and it can't be stopped. No, you know I'm stronger. Every piece that they take, every bone that they break, every smile that they fake was just fuel for the flame. Every cage that they shake, every piece that they wake was just changing the game. I won't be the same. I am made for so much more. I am stronger than before. I'm a legend built from broken pieces, making something more. There's a new tomorrow. I won't hide these scars, no. You know I'm stronger. You know I'm stronger.
Yeah! Oh man, legendary.
exclusive. All shook up exclusive.
All Shook Up exclusive. Yes, Matt, man. That's so cool. So cool. I don't know how you stay so humble.
Dude, this is a blast. I love what I get to do.
I love it too. I do. I love it. And the first time I came to Thrive and Jason introduced you, and I'm like, this is my home. It's my home. You know?
That's cool.
I've always connected so great with you. I've always been so inspired by you. I love everything about you and what you do. And
That's my friend.
Yeah. It's good,
Appreciate you, dude.
good stuff. You know, and I thought we'd have pretty much just drove country music out of existence by now, but I guess we're, you know.
Still working on it.
Yeah, working on it. But I always said, man, you know, back when I went to where they had the organs and stuff, it's like Celebration Center, organs, and, you know, choir, and I always said, man, if I ever build a church or have a church, it's gonna be a rock and roll church.
It is, man.
We got one, baby.
That's and I would do some of that other stuff if I knew how, but this is all I know how to do. So.
Oh, and you do it so good.
Thanks,
It's funny. You recently started playing "Gratitude" by Lake.
Yeah.
And during the pandemic, when I was separated from Tanya and living on my own, I YouTubed a lot of stuff, and I stumbled across Brandon Lake, and he has one out there, House of Miracles Live, and he plays that song, and I listen to that song 1,000 times over. I just love that song, because that's how I've always felt as far as how I was as a Christian. I don't have a lot to offer, but I do have a hallelujah to offer.
That's it, man.
You know, the wife always teases me because I say it a lot. I haven't much lately. I'm going to start shouting it out again at church. I used to shout it out all the time. Hallelujah.
But dude, I'm telling you, that's all God's asking for. Like, you know, he's asking us to bring the real. He's asking us to bring us. You know, that's it. Like the brokenness and all, warts and all, the good, the bad, and everything in between. That's what he's calling for.
Just bringing it
that's
out.
what he wants.
Yeah, and again, you know, bringing it all to Him and bringing it all to the table is where it's at. I mean, I'm 61 years old, Matt, and I just started bringing it all. I still got a couple things I probably ain't brought yet, but I've brought a lot.
I'm still working
just in the last couple of years, and it's just been so. That's why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I got a son who's all fired up. I mean, it's cool.
You got a story to tell, man. That's it.
Yeah. Sweet. I love it. So, I got this. A coworker brought these into work, and gave each of us at work one. His purpose was a little different. He said, "This is to help dig you out of the bowl at work."
Okay.
But you know, Logan knew exactly what the phrase means. Keep digging. You know. He's a race car driver. When you say keep digging, you know. But you know what it means too. Keep digging.
Absolutely.
So I just want you to have this little souvenir. You pick which one you want. You want a square shovel or a pointed one. Just something to maybe put somewhere when you're having one of those bad days and you...
I think I might be able to use this as a guitar pick. Like if I
Let's see what it's got.
What's on that?
Keep digging, baby.
I dig
No
that.
way. Did you just see that? Yeah. I love it. I love it. Well, Matt, you know, it's goodbye for now, but man, it's not goodbye. I'll see you Sunday.
Absolutely, man.
Well,
Dude, thanks for the opportunity, bro.
No,
This
thanks
was a
for
blast.
coming. Thanks for coming. And thanks for, you know, you obviously have spent a little bit more time in front of a mic, and you're very comfortable at it. You helped me a lot tonight. So,
Awesome.
man, I love you.
I love you too, my friend.
Thanks for being here.
Appreciate it, dude.
They try to break you, they try to make you give up, give in, tap out again. They try to burn you, they try to turn you upside down. They're gonna find out you're made for more than this. I know your story is not done yet. So get off the floor, come on.